Now, one of the country's largest social housing landlords is warning that thousands of tenants will have their benefits cut from April because of a new bedroom tax. The levy penalises tenants who have rooms to spare as part of government efforts to trim the housing benefits bill. But a national shortage of smaller homes means that many are unable to move and will be forced to pay the shortfall themselves. Challenged about it in the Commons today, the Prime Minister argued it was an essential reform of the welfare system.
There are many people in private rented accommodation who don't have housing benefit, who cannot afford extra bedrooms, and we have to get control of housing benefit. We are now spending as a country £23 billion on housing benefit, and we have to get that budget under control.
So who will be affected? Well, over 600,000 people will be subject to the extra charge, and that's around 20% of social housing tenants. But that figure is closer to 40% in parts of the north of England. One spare room will result in a 14% reduction in your benefit. 2 or more spare rooms will see a 25% reduction. The government says, though, that it will make better use of social housing stock by freeing up larger properties. But as our North of England correspondent Kieran Jenkins has been finding out, there is growing anger about the penalty.
And that's the bedroom that I've got to sleep in. And my wife is disabled, so she's got to sleep in a separate bedroom down here.
A small 2-bed flat in Southport, whose tenants have just learnt it's not nearly small enough. Changes to housing benefit mean Jason and Charlotte Carmichael's home is deemed to be under-occupied. From April, they pay more or they move out.
We need 2 bedrooms because I am forced to have a hospital bed. I don't, if it was my decision, I wouldn't even have a hospital bed. I have to have the mattress and I have to have the bed with the mattress, and therefore Jason has to stay in there.
How much toast would you like? How many slices?
A couple of slices.
Just a couple, is that all?
Yeah.
Charlotte suffers from spinal bifida. Jason is her full-time carer. The introduction of the so-called bedroom tax means they'll lose £11 a week in housing benefit. The new rules say as a couple in social housing, they're entitled to just the 1 bedroom.
The rationale is that if the taxpayer is helping you out with your housing, then you shouldn't have any more space than you need to. Do you think that applies in this case?
We're not under occupying as far as we are concerned, and we think it's wrong. And
how much of a worry, Charlotte, is this for you on top of everything else you have to contend with?
It's just adding to everything. It's just like to the point of not wanting to, be here anymore, to be honest.
Oh.
Nationwide, 1 in 5 social housing tenants will face penalties for under-occupying their homes. In parts of the north, it's double that. Riverside Housing, the biggest social landlord in the northwest, says its tenants are seeking to move out in unprecedented numbers. What they found was that almost a quarter of the tenants who'll be affected said they'll have to leave their homes because they can't afford to pay. The problem is a shortage of smaller properties for those people to move into. Around here, for every 1-bed apartment that becomes available, there are 10 potential tenants waiting to get in. For the lucky ones, this is what awaits them. A 1-bed flat in Runcorn that's good to go. But if you're looking to downsize in this area, it could take 7 to 8 years to find you a flat like this.
What happens if they can't move and they can't pay?
At the moment, we will try our very best in Riverside to assist people, make sure that they're getting any benefits they're entitled to.
I suppose what people would want to know is if they're in that position, will there come a point where they will be evicted from their homes?
If they finally do not pay over a certain length of time, we will unfortunately have to evict people, which is not a position that we take lightly.
I meet the leader of Salford Council's Conservatives.
I think that there will be, hopefully, probably not enough for ages to come yet, but I think there will be a lot of new property that people will want to move into, which is smaller accommodation.
Probably not enough for ages to come. That's a lot of people.
Get a lodger, take a lodger in. Rent one of your rooms as a lodger.
I'll make 2 nice slices of toast with some jam.
Jason and Charlotte, though, are applying not for a lodger, but an emergency grant. They simply have to find the money or find somewhere else to live.